So, after a very hectic Saturday night at King's Lynn, we're back in the garage. My dad's back off holiday. He's actually functioning a lot better than what I thought he would be. But no, we haven't come back with too much damage this weekend. We've just got little bits that we just need to change and just have a look at. I'll turn the camera around and show you properly what we need to do. So I think the most hectic one was the whites and yellows, really, for damage. Russell just welded that up because that was all bent backwards and a bit messy. We also straightened the beam axle at the track, but we're just going to do it a bit more now, and we're also going to check the tracking because obviously it was bent. Scale it up, obviously. Change the gears as we've gone from King's Lynn to Mildenhall, and then that rim's also a bit buckled as well, so we'll just take that off and straighten it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, it's a bit dirty, but as usual, it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, it's been pretty successful. It's going quite well. Did a lot of crashing, especially in the whites and yellows, but no, we just had a bit of fun, just like Russell said, and come back with minimal damage. So to be honest, everyone's happy. prop bolts off. Gears are out. Just deciding what ones to put back in now.
Just had another little tweak with the axle to get it a little bit better. Now, put my trailer wheels on so we can track it up to make sure it's perfect. Then, ready for the scales.
We are back day 2 of the Mildenhall Northampton Weekend, the prep. So I've just got here. My dad's been getting on with some of it today and then straightening some rims and stub axles and stuff for people because he had plenty of them to come back to, especially off Matt. Plenty of stub axles, but no, I'll turn the camera around and then show you what he's been up to today. So this is what he's been getting on with today. He's just added a bit of weld there and then he's just put some more weld on that part of the bumper just to make sure it's more secure. Straighten the beam axle a bit more because that was bent at King's Lynn. We straightened it slightly at King's Lynn, but we were trying to rush to get out, so he's just straightened it a bit more. Done the tracking. Did you get up to anything else?
Put a little bit more weld on that back.
Yeah. So we just need to scale it up now.
Clean the air cleaner, check the oil, check the water.
And then, yeah, we should be ready to go really. When would you load it up tomorrow?
No, Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. So yeah.
Collars are in it. Get a fair bit across with it now. Well, it's pushing really bad or what?
Well, it wasn't.
Eh?
It was bad, but it wasn't like crazy.
So,
He did what you told him.
yeah, no, that's it. Probably took a couple of percent out, across with it.
But Mildenhall's really small, so what are we going to do?
Tight. So it's a case of knowing what we're going with, isn't it? Leave it at that and try it. It's up to you.
Well, I can't have it the same as what I had at King's Lynn.
Well, yeah, at least we know what's what, don't we? Well, let's lift it up, we'll put them 2 turns back in and then see what it comes to. Yeah? Pushing weight from one to other, see if that might be a moment.
Yeah, it is. Hello? Yeah, what time are we going to leave out?
Oh,
Both of us.
well, the same as yesterday.
7:30.
Yeah, that'll do.
Fish
Yeah.
fingers and chips or sausage, egg, chips and beans?
Sausage, egg, chicken, baby.
Sausage, egg, chips and beans.
Like fish fingers tonight.
No, he wants fish.
No, sausage egg chicken.
No.
Sausage egg. And leave it at that. Knowing what you're going with.
Well,
If you get knocked and banged a little bit here and there, everything alters slightly sometimes.
Scaling the car up was the last thing on the list for that day, so I spent the rest of the few hours just cleaning my car. This is a photo of it after. It doesn't do much justice, but trust me, it looked very good. after this race, we had a bent front axle and a very bent rear panhard rod, which in this video you can see isn't on there as we'd already taken it off. Here's my dad just tightening the new one that he's just fitted. This clip is taken after the yellow flag. I was leading this race up until this point, and now there's only 4 laps left to go.
Now in the process of Monday morning, washing the cars from 2 shale meetings at the weekend. Luckily, not too much damage.
Mildenhall Northampton Roundup. So it was a great weekend, but it was a disappointing one once again. Anyone that was at Mildenhall would know that we were leading again in my first heat, having never raced there in an F1 ever. I did not know what to expect. We didn't really know what we should go with the setup and stuff like that. So we kind of just winged it basically, and we were just like, oh, we'll just go out and we'll see what happens. So I wasn't expecting much in the first heat at all, but I went out and it was such a great race. After the first 3 laps, I was like, I really like this track, but it was really wet. And I just stayed smooth, didn't drive stupid, wasn't trying to get it all sideways in the first 2 laps, because you're just going to spin out, you're just going to lose time. So yeah, I just drove a steady race. It started to dry out, started to get a bit quicker. And then there was a pile-up on turn 1 and 2. And I missed it by about this much. I was sat in my car and I looked at it and I was like, oh no, this is it. But I literally missed it by centimetres. And then anyway, when I missed it, I was like, oh, I bet they're going to go yellows. And obviously they did go yellows. There was literally 2 laps to go. I was sat in my car. I was literally thinking, I didn't want to get too keen, but I was thinking like, oh my God, like what am I going to say when like I get interviewed for winning and stuff. But anyway, as per usual, the yellows came out again. When we all lined up like in the grid for the yellows, I was like, don't look behind you, don't, because obviously there was only 2 laps to go, so there was bound to be like all the high grade drivers right behind me, and I was like, just don't look. And then anyway, I was like, no, I'll look. And then I looked and I saw all these flashing superstar lights and all these red wings, and I was like, I just thought, let's just go, let's just send it. Like, you know, they might all, you know, it's a stock car race, you never know what's going to happen. They might all get involved in a pile-up, one person might, so anything can happen. So I was like, right, just try my best. 2 lap, dash to the checkered flag, and I held my line until, you know, there was a lot of people coming in for big uns, and I was like, bloody hell. I think after like the second corner, I dropped back to like 3rd, I think. But literally on the last straight before the checkered flag, me and Dave Polly went like up the wall. Well, it was probably more of me actually. I don't really even know what happened, but I went up the wall and then got stuck on Dave, and then Dave took me around for a bit of a drive around the last corner, and in the end I actually ended up finishing 10th. Still not enough to qualify for the final though, because it was top 8, so we did 3 heats and we did top 8 from each heat, and everyone was in 1 heat. So that was my heat over. When watching these videos back, like the crowd like screaming for me was so overwhelming. Like when I came off, everyone was rooting for you in that race, and I was like, well, I was thinking a few people might have been, but like surely not loads. And I watched these videos back and literally everyone is screaming, and it's such a nice feeling to like know that people are actually watching you. And because you get people coming up and they're like, oh, you know, we've really been watching you and hoping for your first win, and you know, you kind of think like that's only a few, but like the noise of the crowd really was like just amazing. Like I've never ever like felt so like supported before. And then we went out in the consolation. Another great race. Another race I was leading until the yellows came out again. It was Adam Joyce behind me. So anyway, the yellows came out, and again I was like, of course I did. So yeah, we had a steady race and actually came home in 2nd in that one. So that was really good. Adam was just he was the quicker car. There's no other way to put it really. Then it was on to the final. Like this race, I don't even know how to explain. The only word that comes to my mind is carnage. Like absolute carnage. I was in the lead again for the first few laps, and then there was a bit of a crash, so I went to go round it, and then they ended up bringing out the yellows anyway. And then on the yellows, I was put in 3rd. And then, you know, we just went from there. We were only a few laps into the final, and it was just carnage. I just dropped back, and, you know, it got to a point where I was so far back, it wasn't worth the damage for me. And that is the simplest way of putting it. It was not worth the damage that would have caused, like racing for last place, you know. and we didn't go out for the national. So altogether, I'd say that was a really successful day. Like, going to a track that I'd never raced at before and actually being so on pace and so fast, like it really was an eye-opener for me, and quite a confidence boost as well. So anyway, on to day 2, Northampton. It was bound to be a wet one, and a wet one it was, because Jesus Christ, I've never raced in conditions like that before. And I've definitely seen a lot worse conditions, but I'd never raced on any sort of shale like that before, and my God. Now that did open my eyes. In my first heat, I went out, we put a really wet tyre on, but it actually turned out I didn't actually need that one. So in the race, it was just pushing on, no matter how fast I went into the corner, no matter how hard I pressed on the brake, it didn't matter. It was just pushing on. So the best decision in that was just to retire onto the infield. The car just wasn't handling at all, and it's no fault but our own. It's just these things that you've got to learn in conditions like that. And then, yeah, that was that race. We definitely thought it was going to be a lot more wet than what it actually was. But it did actually dry out quite a bit. That's why that tyre we put on was just no good. At the start of the race, it was going all right, and then, you know, as it started drying out, it was terrible. On to the consolation. This is where it just started absolutely hammering down. It was bound to happen, you know. But yeah, it just wasn't the way the track was. It just no. There was no way that we have, you know, the budget to be going out there and getting unnecessary damage in conditions like that aren't even fun. I mean, that's just down to personal preference, I suppose, but anyone that was there watching, they would have seen what type of conditions that was, and it personally, when you're not chasing anything, when you're not chasing the shootout, when you're not chasing the points, when you've not got an endless budget and, you know, not really got time to fix unnecessary damage, it was just the obvious thing to do was just put the car on the trailer. And also what people don't talk about sometimes is the pressure. And what I mean by that is, you know, I had such a good day on Saturday and I felt like everyone was like cheering for me, and, you know, and I was doing really well, and then all of a sudden on Sunday, obviously I've never raced in them conditions before, but then all of a sudden on Sunday I just wasn't as good and wasn't as quick, and it just kind of makes me feel like, not embarrassed, but like then you're just not as good anymore, if that makes sense. And that's just down to me being like really competitive and I suppose just overthinking everything. Because at the end of the day, I'm racing my own races and I'm racing, you know, I'm racing for me. But that thought's kind of always in the back of your mind. And I don't know if that's just me that thinks like that. But yeah, so that's one of the other things that was going through my head at the time. And it all kind of just led to the decision of just putting the car on the trailer. And, you know, and we've come back, no damage, like little bits here and there, but literally nothing. my next meeting will be gala night, as my sister's racing Aldershot on Sunday, and then she's racing Buxton next weekend, and then we're going up to spectate for the shootout finale, so hopefully that's a really good meeting, and it's bound to be. And then one left, which is gala night, so yeah, that's for the under 25 championship, so hopefully I can get a better result than what I did last year. but yeah, and then I plan to race Swaffham on the 30th or something like that, on a Sunday at the end of this month, in my dad's pink Higgy. I've never ever raced that car before. For a matter of fact, I've never even sat in it. Like, I've just looked at it and taken photos of it. But yeah, so that'll be something different, and racing a car that my dad's that's fully painted with my dad's old colours that he's rebuilt, and the fact it's been rebuilt from something so old and now been restored, it's just really really nice. It's memorabilia, but not necessarily memorabilia for me because I wasn't even alive then. But another plan I have for the end of this year is there's a Kings Lynn meeting for 2 litre saloons on the 29th of December, and Craig Davis has kindly told me that I can use his car for that. So I've never been in a saloon before, ever, and it's something that I've wanted to do for the longest time. And anyone that knows me, I'd race anything. Literally, if someone offered me to race something, oh yeah, go on then. Hopefully that all goes forward, because I'm so excited to do that, because I've been wanting to go in a saloon for so long, just to see what they're all about, and it's just nice to try different things, and just get experience in loads of things, because at the end of the day, everything is track time. So yesterday my dad just cleaned the car. He took the shale wing off of it, and now it's on top of a container over there. So it's looking all sparkly again, but we just need to put the tarmac wing on ready for gala night, the last meeting in F1s of the season. Change some tyres, we'll sand up the brakes, change the gears, and then we'll just have it on the scales just to see what it's reading and adjust it a little bit. I think I bent the axle again at Mildenhall, because I did a bit of damage after that first heat when I was getting shoved around everywhere and then hitting the wall and then being dragged around by Dave, because the back panel was literally bent like a banana. But we changed that at the track, obviously. But yeah, just the usual setup to get it ready for Skegness.
It's early Sunday morning at Mildenhall. All things are a go.